is the world evil? Is existing in this place a bad thing? Now, if you're in this place, like so many of us, billions of us, then we try to find the good in stuff that we experience. We try to have a good reason for existence itself. So I've also heard throughout chats that I've had with other people, they might say like, surely people are not this ignorant or evil that they want us to be stuck in dark places, or, well, people are trying to do the best and they don't know any better. And you see, the thing is that the people that don't know how to do any better are usually also the people that we look up to for inspiration, or for at least confirmation of certain things, like scientists, or in the medical industries with your own doctor, etc. It's kind of wild, because if they don't know any better, for example, then you can't expect them to ever tell you anything greater beyond the physical side of your existence. So to me, that is why I asked the question, what makes the human body dangerous? Well, it has a tendency to make you believe and think things that aren't true. So we are raised in ignorance in most cases. And most cases is like 99% of the whole fucking planet. Our parents didn't know any better, but it would have been incredibly useful to be told when growing up that now that you are experiencing this reality, to always remember it, it will try to make you believe things that are not in your best interest. Now this is the situation that we're dealing with. On a global scale, it doesn't matter where you live. On a global scale, people are being born and raised in total ignorance. And the reason for that is that their parents also don't have spiritual knowledge. And usually what our parents do and try to do is raise us the way their parents were raised. And it's based on how society wants you to live. But society at large doesn't want you to be aware of your own true nature at all. You're being trained to be I really find this hard at times to really admit it, but to be a slave. That's basically what it comes down to. When you have a job, it's slavery. It's a modern form of slavery that has gone completely unnoticed to most. But there is a certain percentage that I realize that is aware of this and dares to admit it. And that to have to make a living, to have a home, etc. is slavery if you don't like doing it. Because if you don't do it, then what is going to happen? You're either going to be homeless, or maybe somebody else has to take care of you that lives fucking a day job or something. But the money has to come from somewhere. And so it puts humanity in slavery at large towards money itself. Now the biggest lie that tries to make you believe this world is that you are limited, that you are a tiny thing called a human being. But in reality, again, you are infinite awareness, infinite consciousness, a spiritual eternal being that has been lured into this dimension in the hopes of keeping you trapped for as long as possible. That is what happens to souls out here. They get stuck in their reincarnation cycle because they started to believe that this reality is the only truth when it never was and never will be. Break the cycle, become free, remember who you are. Don't let this world keep you trapped. How do you stop it? Alright? So you're in a position, you need to work this job, and you realize perhaps, I don't like this job. I don't like it at all. I have to be somewhere making a living, having to do this or that in order to survive physically. Well, what you have to do, and what sounds incredibly insane initially, is to just not give a fuck. And when you learn to not give a fuck, it doesn't mean you have to go homeless. It might happen, depending on your situation. It happens all over the place with people that they become homeless because they can't find a job. But the thing is to remember is that the idea of having a job is slavery. So instead, what you could do and should do in order to make money, because you have to earn it to survive apparently, is to do what your soul inspires you to do and share with the world. And you're not raised usually to do any of this, to think along these lines. But if you learn to listen to your heart, you will be compelled to do all kinds of stuff that will allow you to generate the same kind of money that you would have from a day job. However, you're going to find out that nobody around you supports it, nobody understands it, and nobody fucking cares about it. The majority of the people like to be slaves. Yes, I'll say it again. The majority of humanity, of people, like to be slaves. How do I know this? Well, based on observation. What do I observe? Well, people, if they are given freedom, if they don't need to have a job, majority of people, billions, will get completely confused. They don't know what to do with their time. Why not? You see, if you could use your time to just awaken yourself to the truth beyond physicality, then you're doing something very useful and wonderful. It has nothing to do with money anymore. But the problem is that people are like, I need someone to tell me what to do. Why do you need someone to tell you what to do if you are a spark of the divine? You are infinite awareness, capable of doing whatever you want. And if you don't want a day job, then stop having any. And if that means you go homeless, first of all, remember, you don't have to go homeless. There are other ways for you to generate money. And it doesn't have to go through a normal job where you're at a certain place for a certain amount of hours. This is one of the greatest issues that we face as humans. Because if we don't realize this, if we don't know how to access our own divine nature, then we feel completely lost. But if you can access yourself, your true being, and listen to your heart, not the ego, but the heart, the spiritual essence of who you are, then you can be guided on what you should do and could do with your time while you're in this dimension. And if all of humanity would do that, if that was the norm, then the world would be totally different, because everybody knows it's not about forcing anyone to do anything. It's just about helping others to express who they really are. And the reason why the world is the way it is because, as much as it sounds as a conspiracy, the world itself is being controlled by people who don't have your best interest in mind. There's billionaires out there, we know it. They could change and solve all the world's problems very rapidly, but instead they're more focused on making more money for themselves. And that is the school system at large as well. If you really think about it, it's indoctrination. When we were younger, I, everybody mostly went through a school system where they try to force you to think a certain way about having a career and then making money with that career, etc. But what if that doesn't fit you? And so many people, it doesn't fit with them. That's why they commit suicide, etc. I've known multiple people who have taken their own lives because of this issue, that they didn't feel like they belonged in this world. I personally also don't feel like I belong here, but yet I am here. And even though I've been suicidal at times, I won't take my life so far, and probably I will never do it anyway, but just to kind of make it less dramatic here. But the fact is that others have done it, and it's because they got so lost in what this world tried to tell them that they should be and that they are, and at the same time their soul, their actual essence, didn't agree with it. So a huge conflict arises, and you can't bear to exist in this world any longer, to the point you take your own physical existence away from you. This is all part of the trap. You are born into a world that tries to trap your consciousness, your soul, into a limited perspective of itself, and unless you dare to admit this, you will never break free. It's not even through death that you will break free, because what happens after death, most likely, what we base on near-death experiences of people who actually died physically, is that you are going to be lured into all kinds of places, dimensions, lights, this and that, all these souls, these angels, these beings. Oh, like, oh, great, oh, you're here, you're finally where you belong, this is home. And then the soul says, I don't, I want to stay here forever. No, you can't. You have to learn lessons. Go fuck yourself. Having to learn lessons is of the ego, not of the soul. The body makes you blinded. That's why it's dangerous. Because the body is trying to make you believe that you only exist in this current dimension where you need a job, need to make money, need to do this or that, need to do all kinds of stuff that is completely blinding you from the fact that you are a free spirit. And in freedom means that you can do whatever you want. Do you have to work? No. Why do you have to work? That's slavery. Okay, so what else are you going to do? Well, just explore the infinite, explore reality, explore all of creation. Isn't that much greater? Okay, how do I do that? I need money? No. Because in this physical world again, you need the money to travel around the planet. But through the astral world alone, already you can travel the world without money. And that is why in the Bible they also said, come and drink and eat without price. Because there is no need for money in the true reality of your being. This is all part of an illusion, a manipulation, a trap to keep you stuck in the reincarnation cycle. So I think it's very useful for people to at least admit this to themselves, because everyone that takes their own life, they want to escape this reality. They have had enough, otherwise they wouldn't take their life. But it's so sad when it happens, if you can actually realize and accept that the nature of this world is meant to keep you in a dark place. And then from that point you can realize, okay, well, I don't want to be part of this dark place. I'm going to start listening to my own essence, my own spiritual nature, and overcome all of this bullshit that is facing me. And then when I learn to do that, I don't have to take my life violently or just chaotically out of nowhere. I can start to learn to live and express who I really am as a divine spark of the infinite.